This is Al Jazeera. Hello and welcome. I'm Peter Dobby. You're watching the Newshour live from Doha. Coming up in the next 60 minutes. A retreat with conditions. Iraq's protesters withdraw from the US embassy compound, but demand foreign troops pull out from Iraq too. Israel's Prime Minister seeks immunity from corruption cases that could further complicate the political deadlock. Homes in ruins, the aftermath of the devastating bushfires in southeast Australia that's already claimed at least 15 lives. Violence and arrests as protesters in Hong Kong kick off the new year with another massive march demanding greater freedom.
I'm Paul Rees with the sport. The Rockets' starman is back from injury and back in business. James Harden shoots 35 points to help Houston down the Nuggets in the NBA.
Shoots a three, got it.
Welcome to the programme. Supporters and members of an Iran-backed group have withdrawn from the US embassy compound in the Iraqi capital, Baghdad, after a two-day siege of America's biggest diplomatic mission. Leaders of the Popular Mobilization Forces ordered them to leave, but there's a condition. They want Iraq's parliament to vote on a timeline for the withdrawal of foreign troops. The protesters are angry about Sunday's airstrikes by the US on the Hezbollah brigades camps that killed at least 27 people. Earlier on Wednesday, the crowds threw rocks and lit fires outside the compound. Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has also condemned the US strikes and warned Tehran will defend itself if threatened. The US dispatched an extra 750 troops to the region following the protests. President Donald Trump threatened to retaliate against Iran, but said later he didn't want a war. Simona Fortin begins our coverage with this report from Baghdad. Still to come here on the Newshour for you, Holland or the Netherlands? What do you call a country? The Dutch government decides. A controversial leader completes 1 year in office. We look at whether Brazil's president has fulfilled his promises. And Tokyo's new Olympic Stadium opens its doors. Paul has more in the sports news in about 20 minutes.
Hello again, it's good to have you back. Well, over the next few days, we are going to be watching the southern part of the United States very carefully. Notice the clouds on the satellite right here coming in from Mexico.
Welcome back. You're watching the Al Jazeera Newshour live from Doha. Your top stories so far. After a two-day siege at the US embassy compound in Iraq, protesters backing a pro-Iranian group have now withdrawn, but they've done so with one condition. They want Parliament to vote on a timeline for the withdrawal of foreign troops from Iraq. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has asked Parliament to grant him immunity from prosecution in 3 corruption cases. Netanyahu was indicted on charges of bribery, fraud, and a breach of trust in November. Relief supplies have started reaching thousands of Australians stranded in towns ravaged by bushfires. At least 15 people have died in the state of New South Wales. This week has seen the deadliest spate of blazes since the crisis began back in October. At least 400 pro-democracy demonstrators have been arrested in Hong Kong after a peaceful New Year's Day march through the city ended in violence. Tens of thousands of people took part in the police-approved rally, but its permit was revoked after mass demonstrators broke off from the main crowd. Florence Louis reports now from Hong Kong. Time for the sports news. Here's Paul.
Peter, thank you very much. The longest-serving commissioner in the history of the NBA, David Stern, has died at the age of 77. Stern died on New Year's Day as a result of a brain hemorrhage he suffered last month. Born in New York City, Stern spent 30 years in charge of the US Basketball League. He oversaw the growth of the NBA into a global brand, which was worth more than $5 billion when he left his position in 2014. All right, that's all your sport for now. We'll have more later. Peter.
Paul, thanks very much. Lots more news, of course, on the website. It's always there for you, 24/7. The address, as ever, aljazeera.com. You can also tweet me. I'll tweet you back. I'm at Peter Dobby1. 30 minutes of news in a couple of minutes. I'll see you then.